Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I am Kiana Pinkney, and I just wanted to share with you 3 things that I wish I knew before I started IVF. And a lot of you already know, have followed my journey. This is our 3rd time going through this. 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, that ain't cute. That's, see, first time YouTuber. I didn't know to like turn my phone on silent. Anyway, okay, so the 3 things that that I wish I knew, or I wish that my husband and I knew before we started the journey with IVF. Number 1, how much you need a community. So community is so important. We were not meant to do this life alone, and I think, well, I know going through any type of struggle can be very isolating, and I feel like when you are isolated, that's where the enemy works. He tries to get in your mind. He tries to think that you're all alone, you're by yourself, and a lot of times you might feel like you're all alone and you're by yourself. And you know what? I think I've been looking at that camera instead of that camera. Okay, I'm trying to be serious here, but I'm so nervous. I'm nervous. I need to take my time, calm down, keep my energy high. Here we go. I can't tell you how much and how grateful I am for our community. I think sometimes when you go through any struggle, you tend to isolate yourself, and isolation is just the playground of the enemy. You know, I feel like the devil comes in and he starts to tell you things that's just not true, and you need community to kind of reiterate, like, girl, you are brave, you are strong, you can do this, like, I got your back. On those days where you feel like you can't go anymore, like, you need someone cheering you on. And I'm not saying that you have to be, you know, broadcasting it on all your social media outlets. I'm not saying that at all, because this is not for everybody. You have to be ready to deal with what comes with sharing, and it's a lot. It's not easy, but you need to find 1 or 2, 3, a connect group, a support group of women and men that can support you and your spouse going through this. Or if you're same sex, you know, you need to find that support group that's going to support you guys. So for us, it was our church family, because you cannot do it alone or you will lose your mind. I promise that. It's so many ups and downs, and that leads me to the second point that I want to make, and what you need. You need to know that this is a roller coaster ride of emotions, not just hormonally, but just psychologically. You know, you want that baby. That's the goal. We want the baby. We're willing to do and take extreme measures to get that child in our arms and in our family. So, you know, you start out, what I didn't know is that if we did IVF, there was a possibility that you might not get pregnant, or you might not have embryos. Like, I had no idea. I thought, okay, we're gonna do IVF and we're gonna get our baby. And the first time we had 8 embryos you know, that were fertilized. And on day 3, they kept dropping off. And then day 5, we were gearing up to get ready for our transfer. And the embryologist called and said all of them died. And you're talking about devastation. Nothing prepares you for that. No one told me that it was a possibility that on transfer day that they all could die. So just be prepared for the roller coaster. I don't know how much you can really prepare yourself, because just know that you don't know what's going on until it actually happens. You don't know once they retrieve, you know, let me just back up. When they, at all your ultrasounds, when you go in, it's always going to be news. Whether it's good news, bad news, there's always going to be some kind of news. And I remember going in for a follicle check, and you know, each time you're like, okay, well, they see 10 follicles, but what they don't tell you is that each follicle doesn't represent, you know, an egg in there. It could be just fluid, and so you're counting like, oh, I'm gonna have 10, you know, eggs, and then when they retrieve it, you could have a higher number or a lower number. And it's happened to me in all 3 cases, very different. This last cycle, we actually had 22 eggs retrieved, which was a miracle. And at all my appointments, they were seeing, you know, maybe 14 to 16 follicles. So you just never know what you're gonna get until you actually get it. You never know how many are gonna fertilize until they actually fertilize. You never know how many are gonna make it to day 5, how many embryos you have to go through to get that one. We went through 15 embryos, 15 embryos to get our son, which we're so blessed with, and I would do it all over again just to get him. But I'm telling you, y'all, it's hard because, you know, your support system is wanting updates and wanting to know what's going on, and at the same time you want to update them and you want to give them prayer points, but you just don't know exactly what you need prayer for. So what I would do is just share my calendar with my friends and family that I felt comfortable with that was in that support group, and just have them pray on, you know, whatever days. If I was going in for an ultrasound, you know, just pray that we have good news today. Pray for peace. Pray for unity between, you know, you and your spouse. That's all so important. And on those days where you can't pray for yourself, you will need them, trust me. And the third point, I would say, I was not prepared for how much pressure I would put on myself to make this happen. And as a woman, you know, especially when you have a husband that provides and, you know, you've been very successful yourself, but you want to give, you know, the gift of life to your family. And in our case, I was the one that was infertile, and it was a lot on me. It was a lot on our plate. My husband was very supportive and still is very supportive, and we just kept the mantra between us, whether or not we have a baby, we are married, we have to work this thing out regardless, because I don't want to be in a relationship where all we did was try and get this child, and then if it didn't happen, we would be just screwed as a couple, because our, you know, I don't want this to drive us apart. This needs to bring us together. And I feel like God gave us this hurdle because he knew that we could get over it, even though it's hard as crap. But we can do hard things. You can do hard things. And I know you might be watching this and you're like, well, she already has her baby. And I'm telling you that this was my mindset even before I had my child. I knew that regardless, James and I were a couple, and we were going to be married, and we were going to have a beautiful life, and I wanted to work on that. So during the process, we would do, you know, date nights. He would just spontaneously say, okay, let's go to your favorite restaurant, or like, what do you want to do? I just want to sit in your same space. And if he had to work, he'd just like have his computer, and I would be doing whatever I wanted to do, whatever it was, whether it was reading or journaling or just sitting there crying because the hormones make you so crazy. He was there, and I think that's important for a couple, just to be in the same space, just to be there. It is hard to go through this, and the pressure we put on ourselves as women, you know, when you feel like your body doesn't work and you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to, you know, do all these injections and take all this medication, like, what am I doing to myself? But my question is, what are you doing to your marriage? What are you doing to bring unity and to bring togetherness with your spouse? Because that is so important. No matter what, you guys are going to be one, and hopefully, prayerfully, with a child in the mix. But if you guys aren't one, when that child does come, that child's gonna feel that. And you know, when the child gets here, you are so excited and all those things. But you know, if you guys are not getting along or seeing eye to eye, it's not gonna be good to raise a child up in that situation. Just do things that make you happy. Just know, with or without a child, you are enough. You are whole. You are loved by God. Your spouse loves you, no matter what. And prayerfully, we all get our babies. I send you guys all the baby dust I can possibly conjure up in this body. And I pray that your deepest desires will come true, and that you guys will make it through this journey. And you will be stronger, you will be bolder, you will know that you can do hard things.